Welcome to Brilliant Investor Podcast, where we're going to bring you the top minds in real estate, business, and beyond. And today we're driving into the world of Toronto real estate with one of the city's most respected brokers, Daniel Gilbert. Daniel's a founder of Gilbert Realty, specializes in land sales, commercial leasing, luxury home development. Daniel, welcome to the show.
Thanks. And let me start off by saying this is my first ever podcast.
Okay,
Long
great.
time viewer, first time speaker.
Okay, fantastic. Great to hear. Daniel, so before we dive into the market, give us just a quick background. How did you first get into the real estate business?
Yeah, so I actually always wanted to be in real estate. I don't know why. I just, even when I was a kid, my parents found some school projects in like grade one, and I was talking about how I wanted to be a real estate agent and sell big houses. And I thought, I don't know, I always liked real estate. I always knew I wanted to be in real estate. So I applied to Seneca and I applied for two programs. One was real estate appraisal and one was police foundations. It's Seneca College, so I got accepted to both. I opted for the appraisal. It was distance learning through UBC, so it was like half a university degree, half a practical Seneca diploma. And then from there, my very first job was appraising federally owned buildings, but it was the government. So they had already all been appraised. So there was nothing to do. It was a terrible, terrible job. I would stare up at the ceiling all day, just counting the dots on the ceiling tiles, trying to kill time. There was absolutely nothing to do. It was the building, for those who are familiar, Young and Shepherd. It's a whole government building, an entire office tower. And aside from the passport office there, nobody does a thing. That and the welfare office, that's a busy place. So you have two offices that are busy, but then you have 10 floors of people doing nothing. Anyways, so I quit that job after 6 months. It was probably the worst 6 months of my life, just sitting at a desk doing nothing, literally zero. And from there, I went into private appraisal, which I'm sure you know a thing or two about. It was good. I was doing for all the big banks. It was like a high volume type place. I was doing 8 to 10 reports a day. And I was doing rural property. So I had to drive up north, go see the properties, and I'd work till like 2 in the morning just typing up the reports. But it was okay. I was young. I was maybe 18, 19, and I was making good money. But while I was doing that, I was looking for bigger things. So I got my real estate license and um, actually, right out of the gate, I sold a $2 million property, and it just so happened that my boss at the appraisal place wasn't the nicest guy and was mouthing off to me, and he actually threw a file at me. And that, like 10 minutes before that happened, I got a waiver for that $2 million deal. So I was 19 years old. I had just made close to $50,000, and he started mouthing off. So I took the file, threw it back at him, walked out, and I've been a real estate agent ever since.
Wow. Okay, so for the audience here, tell us what a waiver is. So some of us maybe.
Okay, yeah, sure. So a waiver is basically saying I'm firming up on the deal. It's a done deal. Deal is firm and binding, so there's no way out. And as a realtor, that means I'm getting paid.
So they waived their conditions and they're going firm on the property. We get it. Okay, got
Yeah.
it.
So yeah, so that was it. And I went right into commercial real estate, and I did that for a number of years. And then as the market picked up and residential market got more and more expensive, like when I started in '07, and at the time houses were $400,000, $500,000. So it was a bit tougher. But then, as time went on, houses started becoming $2 million. So I didn't have to sell commercial. I could sell residential as well.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. So tell me, so people say Toronto's real estate market right now is in chaos. Buyers are struggling, sellers are holding out. Are we in a bubble or is this just another cycle?
No, it's just another cycle. It's hard to grasp and understand. Tons of times people say, "Oh, what's my property worth?" And I actually don't know, and I don't think anyone does. It's very tough. And a lot of people every day actually get asked, "How's the market?" It's very tough to answer. I don't know. You can see a sale on the street for $2 million, and then the next night one sells for 2.5, and the day before someone sold for 1.5, and no rhyme or reason to it. It's funny, but yeah, there is definitely a standoff between buyers and sellers. Like now that the rates are coming down, it's helpful. But for the longest time, it was you had sellers saying, "I want 2021 pricing," and yet buyers saying, "Well, I can't pay that. It's just not even an option. I can't get a mortgage for it, and even if I could, I can't pay $15,000 a month to live in a garbage house." So it was a long time. It's still a little bit of a standoff, and you know, you still have people unwilling. They're not motivated enough. They don't have to sell, so they either take it off the market, and then the buyers. Again, I'm not going to overextend myself, so I just won't buy it, and you just have to stand up, and that's why we had so like if you look at transaction volume, that was way down just because deals didn't make sense, and I don't know. We still have a bit of a stand up, but now that the rates are coming down, I'm seeing activity pick up.
Yeah, so, interest rates have been a really hot topic lately. How are they really impacting home sales?
So I think everybody overanalyzes the market. They're looking tariffs and this and that. I think you're predicting one thing, and that's interest rates. People aren't buying the $1.5 million house; they're buying a payment. So if that's 7,000 a month, great. And it doesn't matter if it's 1.3 or 1.7.
Yeah.
And we saw that during COVID, like where it would go up 10% a month just because rates were falling. And we saw the opposite. When rates went up, the market came to a complete stop. And it was still a surprise to everyone because we didn't have enough supply. We just didn't see an end to it. And that's why people were going crazy and paying crazy stuff because it just seemed like we just didn't have enough houses. And now even on the rental side, we saw that fall off a cliff too. Like it's tough getting tougher to rent a house, and never in a million years would anyone have predicted that.
Right, right, right. Yeah, yeah. And then for sellers then, is this a hold or sell moment in the market right now? What's your take?
So it depends. If you look at on the commercial side, you'll have like a lot of receivership sales.
Yes.
So those used to, okay, it's gone belly up. We're going to sell it. We're going to take the highest offer. Now that's not the case. They're even holding. They're saying, okay, we can't hit the number, and we'll wait a few years. So is it a good time to sell? The answer is it depends.
Right.
Where are you going? Are you moving out of the country? Are you getting divorced? You don't have to sell and you're not happy with the offer, then yeah, wait. I still like to your earlier question, I don't think we're in a bubble. Toronto, like we've proved it time and time again, it is not a bubble. Yes, we have blips along the way. We can go up 10%, down 10%, down 20. But if you think you're gonna buy a house in Toronto for $500,000, it's never gonna happen. Ever. So should you hold? It depends.
Okay. Okay. So, let me ask you, you've been in the business for years. What's the one negotiating tactic you think that has closed the most deals for you?
I think listening, you know, in my business I try to do 70% listening, 30% talking. You know, I want $1.5 million and I won't sell for dollars. Okay. Well, why is that? What's important to you about 1.5? And then just kind of taking off a layer by layer and just being a good listener versus uh, the opposite of being pushy. Like everyone thinks in sales, you got to close. It's not. You just want to be a good listener and get people. What's your motivation, things like that. But to say, oh, this is the best way to make a close. No, just listening. Why are we selling? Why is that price important to you? Just peeling back the layers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then what would you say, like, what's sort of like a real estate hack you would say? That is there such a thing where that most people really don't know? Is there a way to look at, if you're buying a home, is there a hack that you'd say people should try to look out for?
Well, as a realtor, I'll tell you a hack is answering the phone.
Yeah.
I know I've been on the other side trying to call a realtor and they just don't answer, or they're a secret agent and you can't find their cell phone number. You call their office and page them like it's the 1990s. And I think if you're representing someone's property, I think the number one hack is
You got to be
answer the
available.
phone. Yeah, like if you're doing residential, people are going to call evenings and weekends. Like
You got to be available.
yeah,
Yeah.
you've got to be available, and if you're not, you better get someone on your team who is. That's at my office. I have a rule: you have to have your cell phone posted. Like, there's no reason to call the office where you're not gonna be. Take a message and give someone the runaround. You absolutely just have to answer the phone and then providing honest service, stuff like that. So I don't really even advertise anymore. It's all referral, word of mouth, stuff like that. And then I provide good service. Again, answering the phone when someone calls. And and being accessible. I want to see the property today, no problem. Not, yeah, let's go on Wednesday, Thursday next week. It doesn't work like that.
Got it. Got it. Okay, Daniel, we've known each other a long time. I mean, like, what's the wildest deal that you've always got good stories for me coming back from the trenches? What is the wildest deal that you ever closed, or one that's recent you can think of, like one that almost fell apart but didn't for
So actually, my very first deal, the one I was talking about before, that $2 million deal,
okay.
was an interesting one. He didn't really know what I was doing. First of all, I was fresh out, like literally, like the ink was still drying on my license.
Okay.
I found this buyer, a commercial guy. I went to him to help him lease his plaza. Anyways, I had found a power of sale in London, Ontario. It was, I think, 26 lots, maybe 10 houses that were partially finished, 5 that were fully finished. So it was power of sale. They were looking for a builder to finish it off, which ironically is happening a lot again today. This is circa 2008 or 2007. So it was just a wild deal that I had no idea what was going on in the background. So what happened was the buyer had pre-sold the finished homes. He had sold off the lots. He basically sold the whole thing before he even closed, and I had no idea. And after it was all said and done, he came back to me. He said, "By the way, I had made $1 million, and I didn't even use any of my money."
Wow.
Yeah, it was incredible. I don't know how he did it. He sold it. He was buying it super cheap, so he was able to sell it super cheap. So people were buying a finished townhouse for $50,000 less.
And how far along was he? Like in the construction, the foundations were there.
Yeah, so it was like some it was all the road was in. Some were finished houses ready to go. Some were half finished drywall, and then some had foundations, and yeah, some were just
Right.
vacant lots. And
And
nobody knew what he was doing in the background. This guy, he was
now you're saying that that's come around again. That it's coming full circle again, where you're seeing these types of unfinished projects where I guess developers can't go the final steps or can't get it to completion. That you're starting to see these projects up for sale again. Is that what you're saying?
yeah.
Right?
And so now it's super challenging because you've got lenders who have to take a loss because the property is worth nowhere near what they've lent on it. And actually, this is the first time I've seen it. And I've seen deals like that, but I haven't seen where a whole state of the market is like that. Like anyone who bought land from 2020 to 2023 has to take a loss. So it's interesting. Like you'll have a piece just like that. It might not even. I don't know what's going to happen. You'll have someone offer $10 million, but they're owed 25, and we're already at the stage now where they've waited a year for the market to come back. It hasn't come back. So I don't know if the standoff will end, and maybe now it'll actually sell. But there is a lot of those, like, unless you're a huge builder with deep pockets, you can't get financing. It's challenging out there, and we don't hear about it so much, but there's a lot of people going broke in
Okay.
the game. And there's no end in sight because the project's just not feasible anymore. I mean, even if you got the land for free on some of these sites, they still don't make sense because the cost to build is just too high.
Yeah.
You've got the government taxing the hell out of it. And even if they got rid of some of it, it's still not enough because the cost of construction is so high and no end in sight for that. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. But I think somewhere along the line, someone's going to have to lose some money.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think they are. I think they are across the board.
Yeah, maybe they're finally seeing the writing on the wall. Like I've had offers from receivers. And I actually got a call the other day from one that we had offered about 18 months ago. Just wanted to check, is your guy still interested? So I think, so for the buyers out there, my advice would be offer what you think is fair and wait, and maybe someone will come crawling back. And that's for anything,
Good
like in
advice.
a house to a big plaza to industrial building, whatever.
Good
Don't,
advice. Yeah, for
yeah.
sure. Let me ask you, okay, because you've got so luxury real estate versus commercial investments, which is the better long-term play?
I think commercial
You have
all day
dabbled
long.
in both of these areas, or you work exclusively in both of these areas. You know them really well. What can you tell us? What is the better play long term?
So definitely commercial real estate. I've seen all asset classes from owning a triplex to owning industrial buildings to owning a mansion. I'd say the industrial, and the plazas and the multi-res were the best investments you could have ever made in the history of anything you could have invested in. The house is good. It's tougher now, right? With the higher interest rates. This is the first time ever someone came to me and said, think I want to rent? And I didn't say you're crazy. I said, you know what, maybe, because maybe that condo that you're going to rent for 2,500, maybe it doesn't make sense to pay 5,000 a month to carry it. Most agents won't say that because they want the sale, but like I'm willing to give honest advice, and I hear you. Like,
Yeah.
would I buy a $5 million house right now if I didn't have all kinds of cash? Probably not. I wouldn't
Yeah.
leverage myself to buy that, but I would leverage myself to buy an apartment building or plaza or industrial.
Something with cash flow.
Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
say watching people be in this game, I think the industrial guys did almost the best. They had lots of upside. The rent tripled over the last few years. They
Yeah.
had development plays because it was a building with the several acres. So I think, and then you look at home builders and stuff. Sometimes their projects don't make money. Even the biggest, most successful builders. If you look at industrial plazas and multi-res, like an apartment building, those over time, I think had the best return always.
Okay. Okay. Let me switch gears here, okay? Talk to me about the future of real estate and social media's influence on branding, on what real estate, how real estate gets sold today. How important is it as a realtor? How important is it for social media for realtors today?
So a lot of people are not going to like what I'm about to say. I don't think it's that important.
Okay.
I'm big on social media, believe it or not.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
amount of
Your Instagram
followers.
showcases luxury properties and so forth. You've definitely got a great presence, but tell me why you don't think it's as important as people might make it out to be.
Yeah, I don't think I've done business off social media. Um, it's good for me getting listings. So I can go to a seller and say, look, I have a huge presence online and they like that. But is it the
Yes.
most important thing? No. And I think it's all like you look at all these influencers and flashy agents on Instagram. If you look back at what they're actually transacting, it's like the shows on Netflix and stuff that they're driving the fancy cars and the all the glitz and the glamour, but they're
Yeah.
not actually selling. It's the guy you haven't heard of who sells the most. Um,
Most real estate. Right.
yeah.
Right. Most right. The quiet, right. The
So
boring
I
or
think it's
guy,
yeah.
not the flashiest one that maybe sell the most real
I
estate.
was looking at the Netflix show, one of them, and then someone broke down like all these celebrities on the show. What did they actually sell? And I think I sold more than all of them combined. It was, and I don't drive a fancy car. I don't have Botox, and
Right. Wow. Okay. But do you think that like AI, like artificial intelligence and tech, uh, is going to change really how real estate is bought and sold?
no. Ever since I got my license, I've been hearing agents are going to go extinct. The problem is a computer and a bot can't provide service. Like imagine you call the listing and you weren't talking to a live person. You'd hate it. Is it helpful? Yes. Like I use ChatGPT. It helps me draft clauses. It helps me with marketing plans. It's an amazing tool, but I don't think realtors will go extinct. You know, a few years back, they opened the MLS system up so you could pay like $500 and have your house on MLS. I was supposed to get taken out. There were like, if I look back, every 5 years, there's a reason why agents are going to get taken out. And somehow there's just more and more agents. So do I think anything will really change big? No. There'll be helpful things like it might draft, like you can already have AI draft an offer for you. But at the end of the day, you still need someone to find the buyer, sell the house, and that's never going away. So will it have changes? Yeah, small stuff and helpful things, but realtors are here to stay for sure.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, just want to give you, just to finish off here, want to give you some rapid fire questions. Okay. So fast answers, don't think, just answer. Okay. Here we go. So, what is the best neighborhood in Toronto for young professionals?
Midtown,
Midtown. Luxury living?
Forest Hill,
Forest Hill. And what is the best neighborhood you think in Toronto for what is the best investment potential?
North York.
Really? Okay.
Just we have big lots, and I think with all the
Yeah.
changes that are happening, you can do the fourplex, the garden suite. That's nothing. They're gonna come back. Next thing you know, you can do 6 stories, and I'm convinced that all these 50-footers will be able to sever in half and still do 4 units on each. And there's like
You think
we
that's
have a
coming
supply
to New
issue,
York? So
and
you think
yeah, I don't think
that's coming?
like it's nowhere
North
else.
is
Like
gonna.
think of Europe. People
Yeah.
like no one's sitting on these 50 by 150 lots for one house. Like it's just so anywhere I think that in Toronto that you can get a big lot for not $5 million, I think is a really good investment. I live in the Bathurst Shepherd area, so most of the
Yeah.
lots are 50-footers. I think
Yes.
if you can pick up a few of those, like that's my goal. Is I want to buy. I have a whole bunch of kids. I want to buy each one of them a bungalow because I don't think they have a chance in 20
Okay.
years to buy a house. So yeah,
Okay.
I
Continuing with
guess
the
I was
rapid
in rapid.
fire. Continuing. Okay. So let me go. Let's go. So you said best investment potential North York, most underrated area.
I'm gonna go LRT line.
LRT line. Okay. So anywhere on the current LRT, you mean like the Metrolinx line, the Eglinton line? Is that
Yeah, Eglinton. Like
oh,
you look at
any
Eglinton
rapid transit?
west towards Kiel, and
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
um,
All right. Okay. Area you want to avoid at all costs. Granted.
you know.
If you could give your younger self one piece of advice starting in real estate today, what would it be? And I think you probably answered that as you said. You
Yeah,
said buy 50-foot lots in North York, give each one to one of your kids.
no, but if I could give advice, let's say on the agent side, like I was, everyone's, should I become an agent? I would say go join a team first, get trained, learn systems. Instead, like a lot of people get their license and just jump into it and fail just because they don't know what they're doing. There's so like everyone and their brother's an agent. It's super tough. So get trained properly, and even though you're your own boss, you got to be tough and tough on yourself and work long hours. And you know it's not like what you see them all going for lunch all day, or you watch these shows and they're selling $80 million houses. It's just not reality. Work hard and get trained properly.
Okay. Okay. Where can people follow you and your team to learn a little bit more about Gilbert Realty?
Yeah, so the website's gilbertrealty.ca. We've got Instagram, Gilbert Realty, and yeah, just Gilbert Realty. Google Gilbert Realty, you'll find us.
Gilbert Realty. Okay.
Just
Daniel,
opened a new office in Vaughan, Dufferin, Langstaff area.
okay. Okay. Yeah. Tell us about that. So you just moved into a new office.
Yeah, we decided to go north. We were looking, naturally, I wanted to be close to home,
Yeah.
but I think a lot of people are going north now.
Okay.
We're right on the 407. It's
Okay.
convenient. Like I said, I'm Shepherd. I'm there in 15 minutes. You've got people coming from north, south. It's kind of in the middle.
Okay. Okay. And I guess it allows you to stay in that industrial, commercial, and also luxury real estate of the northern parts of the city.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay. Well, Daniel, this was fantastic.
Yeah, it's fun.
Thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
Everyone. So be sure to follow Daniel on Instagram. Daniel's at Daniel at Gilbert Realty. If you're looking to buy, sell, invest in Toronto, he's the guy to talk to. And until next time, stay invested.
Right on.
Take care.